Perfect. Okay, I'm going to call the meeting of the Personnel Committee to order at, I just lost my clock, 5:05. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and will be available to be found on the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel after the meeting. The following information is also provided for members of the public that would like to view the meeting remotely. To view remotely from a computer, please use the link below to join the public meeting webinar. From a telephone, dial the toll-free number and enter the meeting ID. If you have not registered with Zoom, you will be asked for your name and your email address. Note, no participant ID is needed, just press pound when asked. The agenda lists all topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. So we're calling to order, and we have Sue, Donna, and Joanna Bellata present. Also guiding us is Julie Bellevue, the Assistant Town Administrator and HR Coordinator. Public comment. Do we have any comment from the committee? Seeing none. Do we have any comment from the public? Seeing none, I would accept or look for a motion on the April 12th, 2023 minutes that were provided to us earlier via email.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as submitted.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on the minutes? Thank you for doing them, Sue. You do a fantastic job. Okay, all in favor of accepting the minutes? Donna?
Aye.
Sue?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, so that passes unanimously. Is the building commissioner with us? No, I don't see him on. Okay.
No.
So I was going to recommend switching if he was waiting, so we could go
No.
into job description review. Where are we with that? Because I left the last meeting at 6.
Is job description review?
No, the one that's up on the Dropbox. Right? Is that what you're talking about,
Just
Joanna?
talking about the project. I think.
Yeah.
Ongoing business, job description review, which I assumed was the
Thank you.
uploaded.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I just don't know where you guys ended, so I didn't want to start from the beginning, knowing I missed some of it
Oh,
from the last
No.
meeting.
no, we sort of ended that we were going to
Went
be on our
online.
own.
Okay,
And
Dropbox.
yeah, post in Dropbox. And then, so I don't know, the day after or something, or a couple days later, I used the power of Microsoft Word to look at what was given to us by Mary Beth and what the original was way back when. And to do a comparison through Microsoft Word. So I've put all of those up on Dropbox as well in a different folder so that we can actually see the changes in the file itself so that they're highlighted in the file.
The descriptions themselves.
Yeah, the descriptions themselves. So that, you know, you can just kind of go through and say, oh, okay, I see this was changed from January to March. It's that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And there were a few that changed more than that, but in general, there wasn't a lot of new
Okay.
meat in any of them, which it was good to do the exercise because it was like, oh, okay, I get a better understanding of this now, and what we should do.
Okay.
Then Wendy had given me an Excel spreadsheet a while ago, going through, here's what the current grid looks like. Here's what Mary Beth is proposing And here is a difference in the min and the max for each job title. So I went through that too, just for my own purposes. Wendy has since put that up on Drive as well. I'm sorry, not Drive, Dropbox. Put it up on Dropbox as well, so that we all could see that. But my question back was, okay, well, for the min and the max, there were some that didn't really change at all. The step and the grade didn't change much. But there were others that the max, she had highlighted that the max, say, just as an example, say dropped 4%. And so my question, just for my own understanding, was, well, what does that really mean? Does that mean that an SAP employee will be angry because their max dropped? Because they would perceive that as, I didn't see any way of perceiving it as a demotion. But I wasn't kind of sure what that really meant. Does that mean that if they stay in the same step and grade, or same step but go up, that eventually they'll hit the ceiling? Is that really what it means? Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
And so that's where the anger would come in. Yeah.
So
They'd
those
be
might,
redlined.
those
Yeah.
might
Oh.
be the few
Yeah.
that you spotted. Those might be the ones that we pull out and re-examine to make sure that they were slotted correctly.
Yeah.
Or if they might be doing a job that isn't comparable to other municipalities.
Right.
Using that same job title.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think those are the keys.
Those are
that
the
we were
ones that
looking
we
for, the
wanted to,
highlight
yeah,
ones.
I
yeah.
think there's one that would, I mean, granted, we're not going with that grid right now.
Right.
We've already set it for 24.
Yeah.
But looking at it for future, you know, if we're gonna kind of use that as the guide, there is one person that would be redlined
Okay.
right now.
Okay.
But there might be more
There were
people if,
several that are a little off.
I
Yeah,
know,
there
I'm saying
was-
if they're
yeah.
close to it, then they're gonna.
Right. So I would think those are the ones that we look at first.
Yeah.
And then I think from the last meeting, we knew that there was a handful, less than 6, that we had already heard through different
Yeah, that
channels,
they
that
were,
they were a little off
Yeah.
because they weren't comparable to the
Yep.
marketplace that she gave us.
Yep. So we need a way now that, you know, we've done some work on this, we need a way now to take those
Pull those out
outliers and put them in a different
and
place.
start to play with
Yeah.
those, not play with them,
Yeah,
but
but-
start to re-examine them.
Exactly, exactly. And that, those will be the ones that
Right.
we spend our time
That we
on.
spend our time on.
Yeah.
Correct.
So it was all a good exercise anyway.
And now
So-
might be a good time. I did reach out to Community Paradigm, who was the creator of that document that they did for Winchendon with the rating
Oh.
system. And I asked if we could use that, and he said, go ahead, you know, it's public record. So now we have that as a tool.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have to come up, I think, with our own rating.
Yeah.
Grading system in a sense to say, this position, this one, these grades fall into here, you know, because you're gonna come up with a total.
Right.
So we're gonna have to create sections and determine at what grade based on, you know, skills. If everybody's, what are they called? Just say first level. Obviously, that's gonna be your grade 1, not your 16. If everybody's rating is 5s, then based on that total score, that's gonna be the highest. So you know that'll be the highest grade. So I think kind of working that way, going through each position and looking at it and seeing
Each
where.
position or each of the outliers?
I would say to do a thorough job each position for the SAP.
Yep.
So it's about 40 or so.
I guess my caution is that's a huge piece of work to make sure you do it correctly. I do think that it's a valuable tool
Yeah.
at some point, but I'm thinking that the outliers could be examined initially
Yeah.
just as a comparison.
Sure, you could start with them. I would just want to be consistent in the process of rating, where a bulk of them have just been, well, it looks like it fits into this position, you know, like, so I would like to do, I could I'd try to squeeze that in
right.
myself, but I
It's-
think it would be a good exercise.
Yeah.
It is a
It's
good
quick,
exercise
it's
in the long
really
run.
quick,
And
especially when you
because
do
we
it
have a little
together.
extra time now,
Yeah.
that can happen. But I think
Break them up in
these,
chunks. you know?
these outliers can be examined separate from that and then
Yep.
filtered back into that. Because I think some of them we're gonna go, oh, That's why,
Mhm.
that shouldn't be there, that should be over here because of X.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we've heard a couple of those already, unique ones.
Yeah, so I think the next step is we're gonna have to develop that tool, so when, we calculate the job description total based on the rating, if it comes to, say, 200, we're gonna say, okay, well, 200 to 400 is grade blah. 401 to 600 is grade, we're gonna have to determine that
Correct.
amongst 20 grades.
So the question is, do you feel confident enough that you could do that based on the job descriptions that are in place, or would you have to engage the directors of the group?
I don't think, to create that, that guide based on the total. I think, I don't even need the job descriptions for that, but it's basically the rating guide that we know, like, for example, level ones on everything is going to be the lower, your entry level positions.
Correct.
The higher the education level or experience levels or technicalities of the position, or whether you're working outside or in an office setting, that's going to determine weight. So something like that is where we really need to rely on, okay, a score of this, you fall into these
So you
grades.
think the job descriptions are accurate enough to give us enough information, and we would just need to spot check some things with the
I think
directors,
it
or
has
would we
the
have to go all the
information.
way back?
I think it has the information in there.
Okay,
Especially since some of them have been revised,
Right.
but not accepted at this point.
right. Well, the other thing that can happen is that when you use a grid like that, common sense will factor in. If you use what you think is correct, and then you apply it to how did we do with the last, did the right people end up in the right place? There might be a few outliers again, and it's a check and balance to say, oh, then we did a good job of doing that because it landed right where we thought it was gonna land.
Okay.
And I'm gonna
Yeah,
reach out and see if he can provide a little bit more guidance on what he did after that.
Mhm.
What's their process? Once you have the position rated and it totals X amount, how do you determine what grade that falls in, what category?
You just build a grid. You build a grid and say, I only want 16 levels. I only
Yeah.
want 16 steps or 16 grades.
Yeah,
And you just build it into that.
you usually get
Right,
rid of
but-
like 1 through 3, and then you go down to the bottom and add
Right.
as the years go. My question is the Dropbox. Is that private information, or can Nancy, example, the payroll administrator, have access? Oh, here I am, have access to that. I just got big. Do we know that?
I think that we want to work on it ourselves first.
Okay,
I'm not sure we've got far enough along, but at some point, yes, it could be shared.
well, yeah, because, and I think for identifying the outliers, that's something that Nancy would be able to identify more quickly as doing this every other week than we would be, looking at an overview of the full picture. Because I think the next step really is to sit down at a meeting and just start talking about those outliers and moving that forward. But I just want to make sure we capture all the outliers. If that makes sense.
I think my caution is that Nancy herself might be one of the outliers.
Yeah, I think she is, right? Because nobody had in the municipal background what Nancy does. So
Right.
we could skip hers.
that's probably the problem with all of them.
Yeah.
They're hybrids.
Well,
Right.
my suggestion, Joanna, would be that let's try to pull them out ourselves first and then assess that and then decide how to open it up.
Okay. So I really think our next step is, and to book our next meeting and come through the Dropbox with our list of outliers and just start going through them.
So, so then that tells me that we all have an action to go look at the Dropbox, to look at, see if I find the name of the folder.
I guess exactly where you're going is what the next step is that we all have an action item. to
Yeah,
come with
yeah.
Specific topics and start moving them.
Well, so there is a folder called Final Drafts with Track Changes, and that has all of the descriptions, the job descriptions, again, with Microsoft Word track changes right in them so that you can see what the differences were from the original. And then, you know, make a copy and put those outliers that we identify. And let's just everyone do their own, right? So you can see what's in an outlier folder. So I can check to see what Sue's put there, what Joanna's put there, what Wendy's put there, but and see kind of see if I agree. And then we can add comments to directly into those documents, but then we can review the comments together. And because I sort of think like we have to figure out the outliers first and then look at how the grid fits. Okay. All right.
Because each outlier could be on a different grid,
Yeah, the only thing
or
that
on a different step, not grid.
the only thing I was not really comfortable with was like, I don't know all the jobs. So figuring out an outlier was like, I don't know.
I think the way that it will
Except
show
for
itself
Nancy, I know Nancy's is.
that they'll look unusual in the place they're in. And I think we have to rely
mean in
on
the
you to
grid?
some degree
In the
because you
grid?
know them. No, yes, and they sit somewhere that doesn't feel right.
Even
And-
that, I feel like it's subjective.
Well, but you still we have the ones that we've already talked about, the 5 or 6 we've already talked about, that they just don't fit where they landed.
Right, and
And,
that's what-
or they'll show up.
I'm like a broken record. I keep going back to that rating tool, like you have your solid data to rate. Nothing is a feeling of, I feel that this one's wrong, this one doesn't, you know, it's backed up by a point
But don't you have that
system.
instinct anyway when you look at them?
But my instinct could be different than yours.
But
Right, and I
you're
think
in-
I think Julie's and Nancy's would be more on target than mine, not working in the town of Lunenburg to see what each of them do. I work in a city hall, but what my people do are different than what the town people in those roles do. So that's why I had asked if Nancy had, because I think that Nancy and Julie would just be much quicker, better, and more capable of identifying all the outliers. I might be able to pick one or two after I review the document, but I think they could go through very quickly and say, this doesn't make sense.
Let's bring something to what an outlier might look like.
Right.
And we
When-
certainly can apply the thing after, but I think we just have to start somewhere.
Can you send that or put it up on
Yeah.
Dropbox or
Yeah, I'll
something?
put it on the Dropbox.
Okay, just let us know where it is. Although I do think I've figured out how to see that in my mail now.
Yeah, probably.
So that's been good. I get no mail. Is that correct?
To the town's email?
Yeah.
I get a lot of stuff about yoga.
Oh, no, mine's
Oh, you
all,
get I get all that stuff.
no, I get nothing. Mine's all about what's in
Do you
Dropbox.
check your junk?
It's all on, this is Outlook.
I get notices about everything.
I don't get
What's going on in
anything.
town hall, when the town hall's closed.
You're lucky then.
I got
Yes, you're
nothing.
lucky.
Maybe because you're
But I'm-
forwarding and that's.
No,
not
the
functioning?
forwarding doesn't work
Okay,
at all.
fix that.
I
Okay.
can't, no, I didn't fix it. It does not, it is not allowed.
Right, yeah, they.
So,
it's foggy.
They don't allow it.
Okay.
So you have to go on Outlook.
I still haven't got on my phone
Yeah,
yet.
we'll have to look at that.
Well, that's when I come to your house and you can help me with Dropbox. You
Oh,
can show me how to do that.
All right, so when is our next meeting?
How long do people need to review this stuff and point out outliers? And when will you be able to post that for us? Whenever?
Yeah.
Okay, so as long as you
48
can put
hours,
it.
right? We need 48 hours for her to post. Friday.
Oh, no,
next
not
day.
No, I mean the tool.
Oh, I
the tool.
apologize, Donna.
Post it in Dropbox. Um,
How does May 22nd look for everybody? Is 3 weeks enough?
yeah,
Yeah,
I think I'm out of town. I might be out of town.
You're out of town?
Fingers crossed, I'm out of town.
Oh.
23rd, 24th?
Out of
Um,
town for the week or?
no, just
Oh,
that
okay.
day. It's a long weekend. I could do both.
I don't have the 23rd.
You
I could
can't
do
do
the
the 24th?
I can do the 24th. I
Why
couldn't
don't we
the
do
20
Wednesday, the 24th? That way we're not bouncing with the select board meeting if they have one on Tuesday, and we'll do Wednesday, the 24th.
Yep.
But
That
at
works
that
for me.
meeting, we have to have our outliers, and we're gonna start to, one by one, take care of the outliers and where they should be.
Yep.
And Julie, does that work for you?
I think so. Yeah,
Okay, so that's May 24th. Do we want to do 5 PM?
That's gonna be my last 5 PM.
Okay.
so
And,
yes.
and do we want to do it at City Hall? Because I can attend in person on that day.
I
Town
don't
hall,
think we
yes.
want to go to City Hall, but you can come to
Yeah.
Town Hall.
We could go to the Ritter, somewhere in Lunenburg.
No, here's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, perfect. So that is our task, and we'll let Wendy know that as well. Anything else under job descriptions before we move on to the building commissioner? Okay, new business, new hire building commissioner. Wendy.
Wendy.
Julie,
Oh, me?
Julie.
Yes.
Julie,
I'm like, Wendy's
sorry.
here? Oh my God, it's here.
Julie,
Yes. So, building commissioner, he comes to us with 15 years of relatable municipal experience. Most of the years were as a local building inspector. He has 2.5 years in Lancaster as the building commissioner and zoning enforcement officer. His references all indicated that he has a high level knowledge of the code, that he takes pride on good customer service, and that he looks at challenges like an exercise for his brain. I'm like, that's a good way to look at him. So taking this into consideration, his experience, I'd like to start him at a step 3 in grade 16, which is $43.77 an hour.
It's surprising you got someone so quick. It's been so hard to find people.
Yeah.
This is very quick.
This was very quick. Yep, we
That's good.
got is it 4 off the bat, 4 or 5 off the bat,
Wow.
wow.
and 3 out of the 4 accepted interviews.
Wow.
Yeah, and then 2 didn't meet the minimum qualifications of the position, and then 1 had applied after we've already got the ball rolling.
Nice.
So,
Great.
yeah,
so is he still in Lancaster?
yes,
Okay. And he is the because Lancaster lists him as the building inspector. I don't know if that's a difference than commissioner. So I just wanted to make sure that he was actually a commissioner, not just a building.
yeah, one of his references was the town administrator there, and she confirmed title.
Okay, perfect.
Then I would
Any other-
recommend we accept your recommendation for grade and step.
Is that a
Another
motion?
question?
I suggest a motion.
Okay. Second.
Okay, any discussion on that? All in favor? Donna,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. So we're all set with that. And now we're on public comment. Do we have any comment from the public?
Pauline?
Nancy, you good? Raise your hand. Go ahead, Nancy.
I just have a question. I just wonder if Mary Beth ever provided my job description.
I didn't see it. Is it in the Dropbox, Donna?
I think
it's
so.
there.
It's,
But I don't think, I thought when you had looked at it, nothing changed.
Well, you
I had sent her several changes,
Right.
Many
right,
times.
She didn't incorporate.
and I
those,
just
right?
wondered if she ever did it.
What's her
I don't think
title?
so.
What's her?
Payroll and benefits coordinator.
Risk management.
Risk- Body of it.
No,
No, I didn't think so.
no. Nope, she did not.
So
But there was-
how will it be rated if it's not updated? Is my question, I guess.
Was one done?
So
Just wasn't upgraded?
we're gonna have to, none of these revisions have been accepted. They've been updated, but we never accepted them.
But what we don't have though is Nancy's changes in a document that we're going
Right.
to use for, so I think we need to have those
So we'll have to get them from Mary Beth.
or get from Nancy
I thought she. said
She
had
has them. She
updated
should have
them all.
incorporated that. That's part of her.
of what she's
Yeah,
supposed to do.
so I need
But
to
we've
get that.
already paid it, right?
I think, I don't know if the last payment's been processed yet.
Yeah, she'll have
I
no,
thought she had submitted everything, no? Of the updated to anything she had to change.
well, she did, but what we started to find was like, here's an example. Pauline says, look, my hours were changed, but they don't reflect that in the document that the final. So then I was like, well, what the heck?
Who updated it?
Mary Beth?
No, but somebody told her to update it
Yeah,
and it didn't get done.
right.
Oh.
Well, it was done at one point, and
it
then when Mary
disappeared.
Beth did the final,
It
She-
reverted back.
it reverted to the
Reverted back.
original,
Correct.
which is why I wanted to compare the two. Because then you can actually see that, oh, it was, originally, the original, which was supposed to be the final,
Yeah.
and the final are different, and here's how they were different.
Correct.
But Nancy's doesn't show any differences, except, the department that it's in. But the body of it, Nancy's got nothing.
Nancy, did you keep what you had sent her?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
So
so
you
can you send it back to Julie? And then, I don't know, somehow we gotta
We'll get
compare
it
that.
incorporated in the document.
Yeah,
Right, and we might find others.
yeah, that's true. We might find others. You could put it in another folder or something. That's fine too. And then I'll just compare this one with that one, and we'll get all the changes.
Right,
Right.
thanks, Nancy.
Thank
Any
you.
other comments, Nancy?
Nope, that's it.
Thank you. Any committee comment? Okay, hearing none, I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor? Donna,
Aye.
Sue,
I.
and I'm an aye. Have a great evening. Thank you all for coming in and participating, and we'll see you on May 24th at 5 p.m. at a building in Lunenburg to be decided.
All
Have a
right.
great night.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.